Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. In this video today we're going to talk about extreme vetting, which I've gone into in other videos before. Extreme vetting is basically a policy that's been created by the Trump administration with respect to immigration or in many cases with respect to the visa application process abroad. And the extreme vetting protocols basically require that officers who are working or adjudicating matters in the U.S. visa process take further steps to basically further due diligence with respect to the applicant in question. And the reason I bring this up is in other cases, or in the past, I won't say I've maligned the category K3 visa, but I've often made it clear that in most cases the K3 isn't going to be a particularly useful visa. Well, one of the things that happened was years ago the National Visa Center made a policy whereby they stipulated that any approved, if an approved I-130 petition hit the NVC before an approved I-129F petition associated with a K3 visa hit the NVC, they were just going to go ahead and process the I-130 and sort of administratively close the I-129F. The reasoning behind this was because under the provisions of Bill Clinton's Life Act, they created the K3 category at such a time when it was taking multiple years to process a U.S. marriage visa category such as the CR1 or the IR1, and it was only taking a matter, in some cases, months to get a fiancé visa in the United States. So basically what happened under the Life Act, they created a category, they created the K3 category, and they said if you filed for an I-130 benefit, specifically an immigrant spouse visa benefit, you can then turn around and file a supplemental filing for the K3 visa, which will process through the sort of K line, the K1 visa line, as opposed to processing through the spousal visa line, which was significantly longer in terms of processing times at the time that those were being filed. The reason I bring this up is I do believe that moving forward it's possible. It hasn't happened, but I think it's possible. Well, I'm not going to say it hasn't happened. I think we're in a sort of a transitory phase here. It's possible that the process for obtaining a marriage visa, an immigrant marriage visa, might take longer. And as a result, it might behoove, in certain cases, it might be a benefit to turn around and file a supplemental K3 filing, if for no other reason than if you can get the K3 to NVC first, if it just so happens to hit NVC first, it essentially bypasses NVC and you deal with it in much the same way that a fiancé visa processes. In certain cases, this is gonna move faster compared to immigrant visa cases. Now, this being said, the K3 does not confer immigrant visa status upon entry to the United States. Adjustment of status is still required. I bring this up in the context of extreme vetting because just the general tone of the Trump administration toward immigration, legal or otherwise, has not been overly accommodating. I'll put it that way. For example, certain policies have been enacted which basically deprioritize the processing of visas. So things like the non-immigrant visa units outside the United States under the Obama administration were basically given instructions, you need to go ahead and try and get an interview done within about 3 weeks of initial application. Trump did away with that. Things like this extreme vetting protocol regime, which is basically requiring, more processing in certain cases. Again, there's certain aspects of this where the various posts are sort of tasked with finding target groups that they feel like need more scrutiny, things like this. All of this, to me, points to the probability, or at least the substantial possibility, that visas are going to, immigration cases are going to simply process slower in the future. So I can see, hypothetically, situations in the future where filing a K3 application as a supplemental application to an I-130 could lead to a set of circumstances where the individual in question gets some benefit out of that because they're going to go ahead and at least process a little bit quicker through the K line as opposed to going through the immigrant visa line. Whether this is how it's actually going to pan out remains to be seen, but it's something to think about, and I just thought it was sort of worth making a video about it, if for no other reason than I think it may be notable in the future, and it remains to be seen how that'll work. If, in fact, later on it turns out that I was correct, or if it turns out I was grossly incorrect, we'll do another video and I'll just sort of update the situation as I see it.